about anything that's important to you. Also, I want to give all of you another note. I have been posting daily tips on my LinkedIn feed. So if some of you are not following me on LinkedIn, LinkedIn actually came to me and asked me if I would be willing to do a tip a day for recruiters. And so what I'm doing is Monday through Thursday, I'm doing a staffing wisdom tip, and I post it on LinkedIn and X. And then on Friday, I do a faith and healing tip, and that's because I wrote a book about rediscovering joy. And so I'm doing that on Fridays. But if you're looking for staffing wisdom tips or you want constant training tips, they're in my LinkedIn feed every single day. And so if you're not following me on LinkedIn, you might want to send me a connection invitation so that we can connect, so you can also take advantage of that free training, you know, the rest of this quarter and going in. I committed to them to do it for 6 months. And so I think I'm in like my 3rd month now that I've been doing this. And you can also go back and listen to other tips if you'd like. So let me see if we're on the time frame here. We are at the top of the hour. And as all of you know, if you follow me, you know I like to start on time for the people that show up on time. And so I want to welcome all of you here. And obviously you're here for a reason. If you signed up for this call, you want to end the year faster than, or better, stronger than you started the year. And I know this year has been a really interesting year because most of the clients we're working with are having a record year, or they're having at least a good year. They're hitting goals. And yet I keep hearing all over the country that business has slowed down. It's a little tougher now. And there are certain segments that have definitely gotten clobbered. You know, the Medicaid reduction in costs obviously is causing a lot of medical people to be laid off. IT, it's been an unusual marketplace, and yet most of our IT clients are setting records this year. It's just a matter of how do we pivot. You know, if you and I can be assured of anything in this profession, is that things are going to change. In fact, it's interesting because I'm doing a series of webinars right now, and the reason I'm doing it is I've done a lot of training for staffing solution companies, and they also find people jobs. You know, they do a lot plus, but they also fill jobs. And what I'm realizing is that we have to position ourselves differently than we've ever positioned ourselves before. And things keep changing. I totally rewrote all my training at the beginning of this year because what even worked last year is not working this year, you know, and so you have to constantly be changing the way you work your desk. A question I want to ask all of you right now is, are you uncomfortable every single day when you're working? Because if you're not uncomfortable, that means you're working in your comfort zone. And what I want to do as a result of this webinar is I want you to be uncomfortable at least once a day. And what that means is you're trying something new. You're implementing one of the suggested initiatives that I'm giving you during this call, so you will have a record quarter. You can't do things this last quarter the exact same way you did the first 3 quarters and expect different results. You got to change something, you know, and things are changing faster than I've ever seen them change before. And just so all of you know, if some of you don't follow me normally, I want to explain a couple things because I am speaking more to your customers than I've ever done before. I've done 24 conferences this year, and 18 of them were your end users. So I'm getting in front of manufacturing, you know, conferences. I'm going to CEO conferences, IT conferences, construction, architectural, and engineering conferences. I'm trying to get, and counting, I'm trying to get in front of our end users to show them why they should use us. So I'm doing that to teach them on how they can find us, how they can use us properly. I've also done 18 courses for LinkedIn, so I have access to their big data. And the other thing is I do calls for job seekers once a week. So I'm listening to them and they don't know who I am. I do this call once a week and they have no idea who I am. And so they complain about us all the time. So this is not, what I'm going to teach you today is not what I think might work. My training clients are all using what I'm giving you right now. The best firms in the world are using some of these strategies that I'm going to share with you today. So this is not my opinion. This is not, you know, something that I'm pulling out of the sky. This is what's working. The firms that are hitting and surpassing goals this year, these are some of the things they're doing. And again, I want you to turn off that automatic pilot. You know, it's okay if you're on automatic pilot in your personal life, but when you come to work, I want you very aware of 3 things. I want you very aware starting today of the decisions you're making and the actions you're going to take and the results you're going to get. Because if you look at your year-to-date income and you're not thrilled, if you look at that and go, wow, I thought I was going to earn more this year, you wrote it. You wrote it. Your boss didn't write it. you're paid predominantly on performance. And so if you don't like where you're at, okay, and you want different results, then you've got to make different decisions and take different actions. It's not enough to want a great quarter. It's not enough to hope it happens. You've got to make different decisions and take different actions. And that's in any area, that's in your personal life as well. If you don't like results, you got to change decisions and actions, and then you'll get better results. So let's get into today's program. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be actually sharing 7 specific strategies with you. And in addition to the strategies, I'm going to give you initiatives. Now, what I would say to you is, if you want to get the most out of this training, there's no power in what I do. I say that all the time. I train so you can make more money, but guess what? My training can't make you more money. You've got to implement what I'm training you on. So when I say something that makes you uncomfortable, when I say something that you've never done before, take a note, because that's probably the thing you need to implement first to really have a record fourth quarter. And that's my wish for all of you on this call, that you look back and you say, well, I'm so glad I hopped on that call because it really made a difference. And I would love nothing more than on December 31st for you to just sit back and go, wow, I just had the best quarter I've ever had in business, because it can happen. And just so you know, because I'm in front of your end users, none of them have spent their hiring budgets. None of them have. And I've asked all of them, is there going to be a lot of hiring going on in the last quarter? They go, we have to. If we don't spend our budgets, we don't get them next year. And there's a lot of firing that's going to go on. October, November are the top months for firing. That's been proven year after year, because companies don't want someone to work into the new year, because then they get their vacation pay and they don't want to pay holiday bonuses. So you're going to see a lot of firing going on. And if people are telling you that they have a top, they can't increase their head count, we have to ask them, are there people currently working for you that you need to upgrade? Because that's not increasing the head count. We have to get more creative. We have to be more consultative. We've become way too transactional. Our candidates don't think we care about them. They think all we care about is filling a job. Stop pitching jobs. Our clients feel like a source of revenue and feel we're very unprepared when we call them. And they hate when you call them when they run an ad. They hate that. I'll tell you that right up front. Many of them write names down of the companies that call them when they run an ad, and they're not going to do business with you. Now, are most of them using us? Do most of them have hiring budgets? Do they have openings they could give us? The answer is yes. But they've learned how to get you off the phone, or they learned how to hide behind technology. If you've convinced yourself that people won't talk on the phone, it's because they don't see the benefit in talking to you. Are you pitching, or are you always talking to somebody showing them how you can benefit them? This is some of the mindset that has to be changed, going into this last quarter. We always have to talk to people about how we can benefit them. They don't care about you or me. They don't care what we want, what we need. If we can show them how we can benefit them, then they're going to utilize our services. So let's get into our strategies for today. Okay, let me press this slide. All right, many firms, what they do is they coast into the holidays. And if you're thinking, gee, there's tariffs, the holidays are coming, things really slow down. I just got back from a staffing conference, and everybody there said, well, the last quarter is always slow. No, it's not. No, it's not. It should be one of your best quarters. What you do in the last quarter really does determine how you're going into 2026. Do you want to limp into 2026, or do you want to go into 2026 having a lot of things going into second and third interviews? I mean, we want to surge into next year. Now is the time to get those budgets. Now is the time to deepen relationships and set the stage for 2026. Don't ever convince yourself that people don't hire over the holidays. Of course they do. Of course they do. They want to spend their budgets. And what I'm going to give you today is you're going to walk away with 7 strategies that you can apply. And again, the 7th strategy I think is the most impactful, and it's transformed many firms that I've actually mentored personally. But I want you to stay for all 7 strategies, because they'll all make a difference. And so what I want you to do, I think, again, if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. So strategy number 1 is you got to set your income and specific goals to achieve by December 31st of 25. What are you going to earn between today and the end of the year? Do all of you know what you're going to earn? Because if you don't know exactly what you want to earn, and maybe you're looking at your income so far and going, God, I thought I could earn more. You can make up for a lot of that in this last quarter. You could land the best account your company's ever seen in this last quarter. Companies are hiring. I am telling you, companies are hiring. I've been at a CEO conference, a manufacturing conference, an IT conference, an architectural engineering conference, and 3 construction conferences. They're all hiring. They're all hiring. They're telling you they're not. Or they've learned all they have to say is, we don't use recruiting firms, we don't have a budget, or what about the tariffs? Well, when there's tariffs and your costs are going up, you need us more than ever before, because you've got to have the right people working for you. I mean, we've got to learn that they know the 2 or 3 things that get most of us off the phones. If you're not great at overcoming objections, you got to get great at overcoming objections. But in order to have a record quarter this year, I want to know what you want to earn by the end of this year. And I want you to tell your manager, and I want you to tell your owner, and figure out what results do you need every single day to get there. If you don't know, if you just want a great quarter, that's way too vague. It's way too vague. So I'm going to give you some suggested initiatives. If you are serious. Now, I don't have any right to give you what you should do, okay? But if you trust me as a trainer, and I've been training almost 30 years now, and I can tell you that my clients are having record years. I have many clients, and I know that my clients are hiring a lot of recruiters because they buy seats to our tutors. So I know there's a lot of hiring going on. If you're not having a record year, you've got to implement some of these initiatives that I'm telling you. This is one of the most important ones, because you know what? You're not going to do more because your owner wants you to do more. You're going to do more because of something that you're trying to achieve. So I want you to write down your income goal, number 1. Then I want you to write down 3 specific goals that you're going to hit by the end of this year. And under each goal, I want you to put 5 specific dated action items. What do you have to do to attain the goals? Because you've got to, what do I specifically have to do to hit that income goal? And what are some of the goals I want to hit by the end of the year? And the goal doesn't have to be only income. It could be in any area of your life that's important to you. What motivates you? Is it what you do for other people? What you do for your family? What, is it health? Is it personal? Is it philanthropic? What are you trying to do? And it's not enough to write down a goal. And by the way, all of you, by December 1st, should have your 10 goals for 2026 written down with 5 dated action items. If you don't put dated action items under a goal, you're never going to do the goal. You've got to take the goal, break it down into steps, and date the steps, and then hang them where you can see them where you work. I wish you could see next to my computer right now, I have my 10 goals that I set for 2025, but I completed those about 4 weeks ago, and so I've added on 3 additional ones. Because when they're sitting there and you're looking at them all day long, you just bring them. Whatever you're putting out there is what comes back. And I want you every evening to write down 6 things closest to the money that you're going to do the next day, and plan your outgoing calls. Because so often we're busy and we're doing busy work, not results-oriented work. And if you write down the 6 things closest to the money every single night, and you're going to complete that without exception, nothing is going to slip through the cracks, and you're going to make more money. Strategy number 2, I want you to strengthen your relationships with the top 20% of your clients. 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of your clients. The 80%, the 80-20 rule works in every area of your life. You're only using 20% of what's in, on, and around your desk. 20% of what you do is giving you 80% of your results. You've got to understand what is that 20%. So I do more of those actions every single week. But 20% of your clients are giving you 80% of your revenue, and you've got to strengthen your relationship with them. I am friends with every one of my clients. I know everything about them. I know everything about their family, about their kids, about the sports teams they back, about what they're trying to achieve. Our hiring managers view us as a transactional vendor right now. If you want to make a lot more money, they've got to start viewing you as a strategic partner. You've got to become more consultative. Do you even know what your hiring manager is trying to achieve? Do you know what business outcomes, the jobs that you're filling, how do those impact business outcomes? We've got to start positioning ourselves, and we can help you achieve your business outcomes. Let us know what you're trying to achieve by filling this job. What are you trying to achieve? Do you even know what every one of your hiring managers is trying to achieve? What are their KPIs? What is their next step in their career? You've got to know these things. You've got to strengthen relationships. Let me give you some action items. Take your key accounts to dinner, an event. Take them outside of the office and spend some time with them. Show them that you care about them. If you're taking them to dinner and they have a spouse, invite the spouse. If they have a partner, invite the partner. Just a very social thing. It's amazing how once you make, we started as a vendor, then we need to go to trusted advisor, consultant, friend, and meeting face to face. And if you've got a key account and they're out of the area, is it worth your time to travel there and show them you care and walk through their plant or walk through the offices and then take them out to dinner? The answer is absolutely yes. You've also got to ask them about hiring budgets. I am telling you, hiring budgets have not been spent. And if they're not spent by the end of the year, they don't get them next year. They're very motivated to spend their hiring budgets. And then in November, I want all of you to deliver prospectus to all of your accounts. And you should deliver to your key accounts in person. You're just writing down what business did you write, what business did you fill, how long did it take you? If you didn't fill it, why not? And put a list of all the current people that are still working for them that you've placed there. And then ask them, how do you get 5% more of their business? But this is a time for you to sit down face to face. And when we do this mid-November every year. We always write business. And we say, is there any jobs you need to fill before the end of the year? Because we know if we meet them in mid-November, that we still have time to fill direct hires. Contracts are faster, but if we want to fill a direct hire, that's why we direct these prospectuses. We deliver them in mid-November. It's our report card. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's been painful. We've delivered them and gone, oh my God, we didn't do well for this company at all. No, we're going to sit down with them and talk. Why not? Did we write business we should have never written? These are differentiators that are going to set you apart. And you will write business if you deliver prospectuses. And we just go to Staples and put them in a fancy hard copy, very pretty document. We walk in and they love it. And they love that we're hand delivering it. And you might say people won't meet with us anymore. If they're not talking to you on the phone and they don't want to meet with you, they view you as a vendor, a transactional vendor. If they see how you can help them achieve their KPIs, their goals, help their company attain their business objectives, believe me, you're going to start elevating that relationship to where it should be, And we've got to elevate the relationships. Strategy number 3, reactivate dormant clients. If you've got clients that have not worked with you for a while, your biggest opportunity, your top client could be somebody sitting in your database. By the way, recruiters, I'll bet you money right now. I would be willing to bet you $500 that you could fill at least 25% of the jobs sitting on your desk right now with candidates in your database. But they're just sitting there and you don't even know they're there. You're not mining your database. You're not staying active with your database. Your database has to hear from you at least every other month. To tell me you have 50,000 candidates in a database, when is the last time they heard from you? I would say probably 90% of that, you have incorrect emails, incorrect contact information. Start learning how to work your database. Learn how to use your ATS or your CRM. None of you love your ATS. You know why? You don't know how to work it. You've never learned how to really use it. You're asking your owner to buy you all these AI tools, and every ATS system out there and every CRM system has AI capabilities. Have you even learned them? But strategy number 3 is it's much easier to reactivate someone who used to do business with you. Identify clients who haven't worked with you in the past 12 to 18 months. Call with a re-engagement script. Update them on market trends. We've got to start positioning ourselves as workplace experts. So that they realize they're not just a source of revenue. And by the way, I get calls and my cell phone is everywhere. I probably get at least 6 or 7 calls a week on my cell phone from people working for staffing and recruiting firms, wanting to place people in my company, wanting to place IT people, wanting to place construction people, wanting to place doctors. If they just Googled my name, they would know they shouldn't be calling me. And so when clients complain that we're not doing our homework at first, we're just cold calling, they're right. We should never make a cold call. All of our calls should be warm, informed calls. But you need a re-engagement script. Update them. Position yourself as a workplace expert. Let them know. Ask them questions. Another thing I want to mention here that I don't think I mentioned in this program anywhere. We have to slow down. And I know I talk fast. I train fast because I'm trying to give you as much as I can because I don't know what one idea might make all the difference in the world to you. But we have to slow down before we sell. We have to find out what's important. What are the challenges these companies are having? What impact do these openings have on them achieving their business objectives before we position ourselves as a solution? On the candidate side, stop pitching jobs. Stop pitching jobs and stop interviewing for a specific job. Because now you're proving the candidates right that we only care about filling jobs. We have to let them know we can help them advance in their career. We have to slow down enough to find out what they want to do next. Don't assume for 2 minutes that what candidates are doing now is what they want to do next. That doesn't even exist anymore. COVID changed everything. People are changing professions, industries, but they have transferable skills. You have to learn how to do that as well. But, we've got to be more prepared. And when you're re-engaging them, You've got to position yourself as that workplace expert, not that you're just looking for a revenue source. And again, you've got to position yourself as a problem solver. We've got to become more consultative, because that's what our clients want. Strategy number 4 is you've got to use scarcity and deadlines to close faster. You know, deadlines drive decisions. Leverage year-end timing. And I'm telling you, they want to spend these budgets. They need to spend these budgets or they don't get them next year. You know, it was funny because when I was at a CEO conference about 2 weeks ago, and so during the breaks and during lunch, I'm sitting with all these CEOs, and it's funny because it's like talking to anybody else. And here's people that are, you know, CEOs of billion-dollar companies, and they're just complaining about everything, you know. And it's funny because so much of what they complain about, we can solve. And I kept telling them that, you know, and again, I'm your biggest advocate. I'm out there telling these companies why they should use you. They're just waiting for you to differentiate yourself. When you sound like everyone else, don't call them after they run job board ads. They hate that. But rather than saying, we've got to get this done fast, this candidate has multiple offers, we need to move quickly. Highlight the cost of waiting. If you don't fill this job now, okay, and now you're going to spend Q1 retraining new hires, you know, how does this impact lost productivity? You've got to absolutely understand what impact the jobs you're filling have on their ability to meet deadlines, you know, they could be losing money if you don't fill jobs. Do you even know that? Because that's when they're going to move faster, when you really know why this job is open. And if you're not getting a specific target date to fill, if any of your jobs say ASAP, they're not saying that, you're just writing that. I just did in-house training for a company, and I asked them to pull out all their job orders and all their contracts, and without exception, every one of them said ASAP. And I go, no more. A specific target date to fill, get 3 interviewing times, and get an alternate person to that you can call with interviews. Because how many times have you surfaced candidates, you go to book them and you can't get a hold of the hiring manager? Have an alternate name of a person that can book interviews. You know, our job, your whole focus every day is, where do you book a first interview? If you want to make more money in this last quarter, book more first interviews. Every one of you has a first interview to fill, first interview to placement ratio. So if you want to make more money, one basic way to make more money, and all these initiatives I'm giving you are going to help you book more interviews, but just increase the number of first interviews. I call that a send out. A send out to me is a candidate in front of a hiring authority first interview. If you obtain specific target dates and you have a deadline to hire, trust me, you're going to book more first interviews. You're going to book more first interviews. Okay, strategy number 5. You've got to know and identify, who do you want to do business with? Who do you want to land as targets by the end of this year? Because you should already know that. It takes 6 times for them to hear your name, for them to even know what you do. What candidates do you need to pipeline? What are the job titles you're filling, recruiters? What candidates should you be pipelining? And salespeople, who are you targeting? And have you given the targets to your recruiters? So that if they interview somebody out of those companies, they can give you inside information. You have got to study your best business. Look at where you've made placements and fills in the last 24 months. And who are your highest profit margin clients? Recruiters, you've got to surface and share 3 sales leads daily. Because as you're interviewing, you are turning up sales leads for your sales team. My recruiters give my salespeople 3 leads a day, and they're solid leads. If you're not working a full desk, if you're not a direct hire recruiter working both sides, you're in a contract staffing firm, you're in a temporary staffing firm, or you're in a direct hire firm and you're not working the sales side, the client development side, give 3 leads a day. And salespeople, you got to follow up within 24 hours or they're going to quit giving you leads. And if you want to land business before the end of this year, okay, you've got to contact people 6 times in 9 weeks. That's what you got to start right now. That's why I wanted to do this call early this month. And make your first contact tomorrow, okay? 6 contacts in 9 weeks. Now, you're not going to call them 6 times in 9 weeks. They would think you're a stalker, obviously, okay? But, you know, you call, you mail information, you share expectations, what they can expect from you, what you need from them. You differentiate yourself. You share your personal brand. You position yourself much more consultative, because that's what's working right now. Even the way we negotiated last year is not working this year, and we negotiate over 20 times in the placement and fill process. You know, you've got to set parameters, but you've got to contact them 6 times in the 9 weeks. But if you don't know who you're going to land by the end of the year, you're not going to land them. And again, set up Google alerts. Once you target somebody, set up Google alerts, so you're going to learn everything about them. Everything that's said about them online will come in your inbox, and that helps you make more warmed, informed calls. But recruiters, you're the key to landing new accounts. You get the best leads when you're interviewing. You have to listen for them. Strategy number 6 is leverage referrals for fast wins. I'm telling you, if your clients and your candidates are happy, if they're having a good experience, of course they're going to refer you. I got something recently. I discovered something 2 months ago, and it has become my best friend. I got one of those vibrating plates that you stand on, and it gives the same effect as if you're doing sit-ups and push-ups, and it improves circulation, and it's so much fun. And I put music on, and I'm on this crazy, well, it's making a difference. It's making me healthier. And all my friends are going, what are you doing? And I go, it's this stupid vibrating board that you stand on. And I go, and so what's really funny is I've sent that link to probably no less than 50 people. And all my friends now are doing it. It's just funny because it works, and it makes you feel healthier, and it helps circulation. Well, this is something that nobody asked me for a referral, but because it works, I'm telling everybody about it. If you're doing your job, everybody you've placed in a job, I want you to think about this a moment. Think of everybody you've placed in a job. They're either your army of recruiters out there telling everybody they should use you. If somebody says, I'm looking for a job, I need to hire somebody, your name should be the first name out of their mouth for both clients and candidates. Or your candidates are being recruited away by your competitors. I find it sad when we interview candidates that got their job through another staffing firm, and we ask, where did you go? They don't even remember. They don't remember the name of the firm that got them a job. You can never be out of sight, out of mind. Lifelong relationships. This is a relationship building business. What is your follow-up process after you place someone in a job? That's another place we really drop the ball. You want to form lifelong relationships. You can't place somebody in a job and forget them. You might think you don't have time. I'm telling you, you can't afford not to follow up. There has to be an absolute process after you place somebody to let them know you care. So what I want you to set a goal is, I want you to set a goal that 40% of the candidates you place next year, you can't do it in the last quarter if you're not here, but by next year, I want 40% of the candidates you place and new clients that you land to be referrals. And I want you to review and upgrade your referral program. If you don't have a client referral program, you need to develop one. Clients are no different than anyone else. They'll do things that are going to benefit them. We donate to the client's worthy cause, whatever is their worthy cause in their name, when we make our first placement or fill with them, if they refer us somebody. You know, I don't care what kind of program you come up with, you need a client referral program. When we rolled ours out, we always got client referrals, we always asked for them, but we rolled out the donation to their favorite charity. Our client referrals that year went up by 355%. And this year in 2025, 64% of our placements this year are referrals. They're referred candidates. Think of how much easier your job would be, but that doesn't happen by chance. That happens because you have a process in place. You know when you're going to ask for referrals. And so, you know, again, it is extremely important that you ask for referrals. Now, I know I've gone through these 7 strategies, you know, pretty quickly here, but I recorded this call. You're going to get all of this recording back, and whatever's resonating with you, that's what I want you to implement first. The last strategy is you should invest in a mentor or proven training system. Again, all these strategies are going to help you close Q4 stronger. But let's talk about a game changer. Unless you have somebody working with you and somebody showing you what to do. I always have a coach. I have a coach right now. I always do. I always attend training sessions when I'm at conferences speaking because I want to learn. And this is what I see happening. I don't know how many webinars you've attended. I don't know how many podcasts you listen to. I don't know how many conferences you go to. But this is what I see happening all the time. Is you come to a webinar like this and go, wow, all these ideas. I can't wait to get the recording. And you've got all these ideas. And then all of a sudden you get off the webinar and you start working your desk and the phone starts ringing and you start answering email and InMail. And by the way, something I want to share with you, only 8% of email are being opened. Only 11% of InMail are being opened. I trained for LinkedIn. I've done 18 courses for them. I've got their big data. And so if you're only corresponding by email, 8% of email are being opened. 11% of InMail are being opened. You know, you've got to get people on the phone, but I don't want you to come to this call and get off and go, wow, that was a lot of good ideas. You might not know which idea to implement first. You might not know which one will have the biggest impact on you, but do something, because what happens is you get all these great ideas, and you know what happens? You're lucky if just a couple are implemented. Most of them fall in this graveyard of, well, it sounded great, but I didn't know exactly step by step how to do it, or I'm busy. I'm too busy to implement something new. As fast as things are changing, you can't afford not to constantly be challenging yourself to learn new ways of doing things. Even the way that we negotiate. I totally changed the way my team negotiated this year. Totally changed the way they're negotiating. And they're like, what are you doing, Barb? I said, what we did a year ago is not working right now. We've got to change the way we're doing this. So action steps that I would suggest. And again, these 3 action steps I think are some of the most important of this program. I'm going to give you a QR code, or you can call that number. And again, you might want us to mentor you. You might want someone else. I don't care who does it. Find somebody. The best thing you could do is have a mentor, have a coach, have an accountability partner, have someone that's constantly challenging you. And our training products are very interactive. You know, I do 6 live calls for our training clients every month. You've got me there to help you. You've got systems on everything I've mentioned today. In our tutors, there are systems for every one of those things. There are copies of our forms. There's copies of our referral programs. There's copies of scripts. I would just like you to look at it. Is it worth 30 minutes of your time? I've given you 30 minutes of my time free. Is it worth 30 minutes of your time to call this number or set up an appointment with one of our experts and you discuss what you're trying to achieve? Now, if you're a recruiter or an account exec, you don't have buying power, please share this with your owner. Let your owner listen to this, because I am telling you, I'm training right now, I think over 70 franchisees. These are franchisees that have bought a franchise. They're supposed to be getting training from their franchisor, and guess whose training they're using? They're using mine, and they're some of the top offices in their franchise system. And so I'm getting calls now from the systems going, what are you training them on? Because these are their top offices. You need to always have a mentor, a coach, an accountability partner, and you've got to change the way that you're recruiting and selling and negotiating and closing. I've given you some hints on how to do that. If you don't change it, I'm telling you, you're going to have the same results in the last quarter, and you don't want to do that. The firms who invest in training and mentorship don't just close strong this year, they dominate the next one. So if you want me to be your mentor, your coach, I've given you a lot of things you can do on your own, but if you want me to hold your hand, if you want me to answer your questions, I do 6 live calls a month answering your questions. We have instant messaging if you have a question with my team of experts. And so you're never going to feel like you're alone. If you're an owner and you have a training program, our training can enhance it. We have many different kinds of training programs. If you don't have one, our tutor is a turnkey comprehensive training program that can train your brand new people from day one and get your experienced people up where they need to be right now with all the changes. Again, the 7th strategy is the one I'd love to discuss with you further. You know, if you're at all interested, please click on the QR code and call us. Now, I'm going to open the lines for questions. I just want to show you a couple screens that are going to give you a little bit more information. This is how simple our system is. You log in and you take this training when it's good for you. At night, you can do it 24/7. These are all the different tutors we offer. See how they're split out? What are you? Are you contract staffing, sales? What do you do? We've got specialized training just for you. And this training was written this year because I had to rewrite everything. I was in a studio. I learned that you and I don't have the attention span of a goldfish. That upset me. That human beings have less than attention span of a goldfish, and we don't like to read. So all this training is videos. You know, and you do have written materials as well if you like to read, but I did everything on videos because you like video. So you click on a video and you've got scripts and forms and everything you're going to possibly need. And then these are all the coaching calls. These are just some of the coaching calls we did in the month of October. Again, these are all free when you earn one of our tutors. And then we have a library with over 200 webinars just like this. We break them down into topics, and every Wednesday I do a training call, and all those calls go into the library. And so you can access this if you want to spot training on anything, you can go into the library and get it. And again, our biggest thing is 100% of our training clients increase their sales and profits. You also get the forms that go with all these tutors. They're specific forms. So would it be worth 30 minutes of your time, or if you don't want 30 minutes, tell Jody you've got 15 minutes to talk to her. This is the QR code to set up an appointment with her. She's my VP of sales. She was one of my top producers, and now she's heading up my training company. She still has some clients though, because I can't get out of it totally. But I would really encourage any of you to give her a call. But now the most important part of this call, because I said I would, is to answer your questions. If you've got any questions, you can go to the control panel on the right, click on the word attendee. If you put in the telephone number, access code, and PIN number, you can click that little hand icon above your name, and I can unmute your calls and you and I can talk. Or go down to the control panel to the very bottom where it says questions, and you can type in any questions. This is from Matthew. Barb, where can I get your energy, optimism, and perseverance? You want to know something? I love what we do, and I find this exciting because things have changed so much that it has really challenged me as a trainer. Like, I've had to redo so much. I'm excited about what I'm doing now. And I think, again, my energy level, I do have a high energy level, but I think when you're motivated and when things are working, that's where it comes from. But everything is attitude. I mean, if you wake up in the morning and say it's going to be one of those days, you're going to prove yourself right all morning. If you wake up and say it's going to be a great day, and I lost my husband last year, and do you know that no one knew? Because I still did my calls. I still did everything. My clients found out I took a week off. I took 1 week off, but even with that, that's why I wrote a book after my husband died, Rediscovering Joy. I think that we can create the life that we want to create. And in this business, there are no ceilings on what we can do. We keep listening to the negative stuff. If you align with me, you will learn my attitude. You will learn my attitude. Let's see. So someone logged in from a phone and was having trouble with the audio, and nobody else is complaining about audio. Let's see. Thank you, Barb, for making me finally create a real client referral program. Great call as always, and tutor is amazing, and what a great gift every team should have for their people. This is Bill Casco, so this isn't a commercial. And Bill, by the way, rolled out our client referral program. He did one of the better jobs. He just rolled it out a couple months ago, and the results Bill Casco is getting from our client referral program is amazing. And he is a tutor client, but he had never rolled out the client referral program, and I love the way he's done it on his signature line. And again, when you're on my calls, you've got people from all different companies that are on those calls as well. And what's beautiful about that is you're listening to what other people are doing. You're listening to me ask questions that other people are asking. Sometimes you don't even know a question to ask, and so you're learning from the questions other people are asking me, which is great. Let's see. Sorry to hear about your husband. Had no idea, and I'm one of your clients. Why don't you tell us? I don't know. It was because I don't do sad. I just don't do sad. And so, yeah, I'm a pretty private person. But my book, if you want to know everything about me, by Rediscovering Joy. If you've had any loss in your life, my book will help you. I wrote it in the middle of the night. I wrote it in 6 weeks, and it's raw. It's just raw. But if you've had any loss, I wrote the book to help you. Let's see, you mentioned you have a new training materials this year. I've done all your courses. Is there someone I can get your new material? Love all your courses that I've taken. Michelle, if you've taken the new tutors, those are the new courses. And we update the tutor every week, because every week I'm doing new training. And so, I think that, again, you will have, if you're one of my tutors, you get all the new stuff. I update the tutor every single week. You've mentioned several times that negotiation tactics have changed. Can you explain? Yes, I can, Jamie. In fact, I'm doing a 3-webinar series right now on negotiating. We have to be much more consultative going into negotiating, and we have to have 1, 2, 3. We can't go in and with one idea and wait for them to give theirs and then try to come up with a cause. We have to go in with 1 or 2 or 3 different options, where all the options end up being our way. We're positioning ourselves extremely consultative. But if you really want to delve into the negotiating thing, I'm doing the negotiating webinars right now. I did one on Tuesday. I've got one this Tuesday, one the following Tuesday. You can still sign up for that series live, because I'm doing it right now. If you want to sign up for that, because it's very in depth. And I've taught negotiating. I've done negotiating courses for Biz Library, for the CPA Association of Canada. Negotiating is something I love, but I've noticed it really has changed in the way we've negotiated. We go in and we always want to win. Well, it can't be that way. Let's see. I've never considered a client referral program. Can you explain the concept from a very big? Yes, Matthew. You know, again, what we do is if somebody gives us a referral, we donate to their favorite charity in their name, and you can decide how much you're going to donate, and you have to put parameters around it. You know, but yeah, we've got a very succinct, and we invite them to join us on our client referral program. And donating, and the charity could be their kids' baseball team, it could be their church or synagogue, it could be the American Cancer Society. So people like to do philanthropic things. And by the way, my firm has been honored. I just got an award from American Cancer Society. I attended a black tie event 2 weeks ago that recognized my firm for all we've done for American cancer. And a lot of it, some clients will say, Barb, I don't know where to donate. Do you have any suggestions? I go, well, I love American Cancer. They saved my husband's life like 3 times. So I've donated a lot to them, time, money. And so we got honored by them 2 weeks ago. And so it's a win-win-win-win. Now, when you donate, that comes off the top. No commissions are paid. But one donation, and now you've got a new client. And there is a copy of my referral program with our training program. So anybody that uses our training, they get a succinct copy of the invitation, copy of the training program, copy of everything. And again, you know, we've got so many different things we offer. I wish you would just call my office and give us your challenges. And for 15 to 30 minutes, all we're going to do is ask you questions about what are you trying to solve? And then we'll figure out what is the best way we can help you. But I would love to be your mentor or coach. You know, people ask me, how much longer am I going to train? I'm going to train as long as I know I'm relevant. And I know I'm relevant right now because LinkedIn considers me the recruiting voice. You know, they asked me to do those tips. And I just got hired by a $2 billion staffing solutions company to totally revamp their sales training. You know, and I'm working with their senior team, their junior team, you know, so I know my information works. You just have to implement it. You know, but again, it's worth a 15-minute call to tell us your challenges to see if we can help you. And if you don't want me, then find someone else. But just don't try to do it by yourself, because you can't. I mean, I don't do it by myself. I have mentors, I have coaches, and you need them too. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I don't see any other questions, and I hope you set up a call, and I hope you implement some ideas, and let's all have a record quarter. Do me a favor, text me or send me a message on LinkedIn on what idea worked for you, and I will highlight you on my LinkedIn feed. And I have 75,000 followers. So I will put your name, your company name, send me your success story, and I'll highlight you. I would love to do nothing more. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.